Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Candy, and today I want to talk to you about, are you that person that can't seem to say no? If we have the mentality of that you're being taken advantage, that people are using you, you have to step back for a minute and really assess the situation, because you might be that person that can't say no. So I'm going to share with you 3 things that actually hold you up and even rob you of ever reaching your goals. Because if you don't learn to say no now, it's going to cost you later. And really, you have no one to blame but yourself. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions and kind of answer it mentally where you're there. Do you have a hard time saying no? Do you find yourself wanting to be everything for everyone? And if the answer to one of them or both of them was yes, if you're honest with yourself, then you may have a problem saying no. In this video, I want to talk about, how do you know that you're that person? How can you change that? And why should you change that? So let's go into the first one. How do you know if you're that person? It's very simple. When you're asked to do something, your motive behind it, your reason behind it is that you don't want to hurt their feelings, so you say yes. The second thing could be that you don't want to come across as uncaring, maybe even inconsiderate, so you say yes. The third reason could be simply because you just want to be helpful, which absolutely nothing wrong with that. But even that one, if it's going to take you away from take away time from you pursuing your goals, your purposes in life, I'm going to give you a solution to that one, that last one. Because another giveaway is that after you say yes, you have this guilty feeling, you feel bad because you realize that you cheated yourself out of that time that you had designated for your craft, for your skill, for your growth, and you didn't keep your appointment with yourself. You know, for so long, I was guilty of that, of trying to be there for others, but at my expense, or at the expense of my purpose, at the expense of my passion, at the expense of my vision. And it was the worst feeling, because sometimes I was missing out on experiences with my family, with my loved ones, or even with my progression in what I was pursuing at the time. So this brings me to the number 2 on this video. How can I change that? How can I learn to say no, but with respect? Because there's a lot of ways that people say no. And a lot of times they're rude, they're disrespectful, and they just come across real negative. But there is a way how you can change that in learning to say no, but with respect. And when I'm talking about respect, I'm talking about that you respect the person's time. And so the way you change that, of not being that person that says yes to everything, and then you compromise your purpose, your vision, your passion, is you do it with the respect of the person's time. And you do that by these 2 ways. One of them is, don't delay your no and keep them waiting, because that's just rude. If somebody asks you for something or to do something for them, don't delay. If you know it's a hard no, if you know you're not able to, or it's going to take away from something that you're prioritizing, don't delay your no. The second thing is, don't ignore them altogether. How many of us have reached out to somebody asking for a favor, asking for some help, and they never respond? And I'm talking about through texting, and then you call them and they don't respond. Don't ignore them altogether. There's a scripture in the Bible in Matthew 7:12. It says, "In everything, do to others what you would have them do to you." If the situation was switched on me, I would definitely want someone to let me know as soon as possible if they're able to help me or not. So don't ignore them altogether, because then it's awkward later. And there's nothing worse than waiting for a person to respond to you. The second thing I will say, not just out of respect that you can change your nose, but do it promptly. Because that way, that person can make other arrangements. You just do it. You just straightforward say, "I can't do it, I'm sorry." That's it. Leave it at that, period. Because if you're the kind of person you want to please everybody and be good to everybody, you're going to say, "I can't do it, I'm sorry," but no, just stop there. "I'm sorry," period. Or you can say, "No, I'm not available. No, I'm not able to." I remember that I was at a women's retreat some years back, and I asked an individual to help me with, we were doing it had separated into groups, and so we were doing like a painting. And I had asked this young lady, it was already wrapping up, everybody was moving on to the next session, and I still had a little bit to finish, and I asked this lady if she could help me, just real quick. And she was actually the one that was leading that particular session that we were already wrapping up. And she simply said, "No, I can't." And so she went about her business. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of stood there stunned, and I was offended, because I was that person that would never say no, because I just thought it was rude. But I didn't understand what I learned that day. Because had she stopped to help me, it would have set her back to the next task that she had, the next responsibility that she had to do. So this leads me to the second thing in saying no, how you can change that, because she could have redirected me, which brings me to my next step, and that is redirect them to someone else or something else that can help them with their need. Or if you're wanting to say yes because you genuinely want to help, but it's not fitting in your schedule at the moment, then I would say schedule at a time that you can actually help them. "I can't do it at this time, but I'll help you next time." Or if you give me enough notice, I can definitely schedule you in. So recognize your limitations and your boundaries. If it doesn't fit, if it's gonna interfere or interrupt the time that you've allocated to work on yourself, on your purpose, then it's a no, right? Now, the third thing and the last thing is, why should I be that person? Because some people still find it hard to say no, even after I've shared this with them. I want you to understand something. Each added request that eventually turns into an obligation because you commit to it, that you say yes to, it's going to chip away at your effectiveness with your purpose, with your time. I have this friend of mine that she spreads herself thin. She struggles to say no. She says yes to everything. And before you know it, she is running ragged. I want so bad to step in and to speak on her behalf and tell everybody who's approaching her, no, she can't. No, she cannot do it. No, she cannot. No. Because it starts to chip away at her effectiveness with that one thing or that one job that she's doing, or 2 jobs or 3 jobs. that she's actually working on. Because the more things that you are doing, the less successful you are at any one thing. So it's really important that you step back right now in your life and see what frustrates you. Are you thinking it's because I don't have enough time to do what I really want to do? But the reality is everything you say is yes. And it's not contributing to your purpose. So you blame it on not having enough time. But it's really that you don't say no. Why you should be that person? You're going to gain the greatest freedom and flexibility to do what you've been called to do. You're going to go from being a people pleaser to a purposed person, because every step you take is intentional. Another reason is because you're going to live a life with no regrets. If you say yes to all, most of the time you regret it. Because, why? Because you're not living your authentic self. So I would say stop being a people pleaser. You can never make everyone happy. Because if you do, because if you don't. So make sure of one thing, and that is that you're pleasing God and being obedient to your purpose and doing it so it brings you peace and satisfaction. Ask God to help you declutter your life, for it to align more with His purpose and plan for your life. So I hope this video helps. And as always, do something good for you. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.